Wait, I'm a turtle. Scootaloo! Hello interwebs, I'm Eric. And I'm Looney. And welcome to the Looney Turtle. With the exception of their misunderstanding of what a sea turtle is, I thoroughly enjoyed Season 8 of My Little Pony. With a new location, characters, and overall dynamic, it had a lot going for it. They even revisited some minor plot threads, such as Chrysalis plotting against the main six, the Pillars adjusting to present times, and even Starswirl got an episode to show that he still doesn't fully understand friendship. This helped replenish my engagement in the show. In seasons past, we've always seen parts of Equestria, but it's always felt like the episodes happen in a vacuum. Yaks, Breezies, or even Griffins would end up with an episode, but then they'd disappear for 4 seasons. Something's attacking Cangelot! Oh no, get the hippogriffs!
What? Who are they? Couldn't you just get the yaks, dragons, or even the frickin' griffins?
Good point, and that's one of my main issues with the writing of this show. I started watching for its world. Just like The Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, or even Wreck-It Ralph, there's a world surrounding these characters that is just as interesting as the characters within it. Fiction tends to be an escape from our own reality, and if it isn't well maintained, then it brings the audience out of the experience. I mean, look no further than when Twilight was made into an alicorn, or even before that, when Cadance was introduced to the series. Up to this point, an alicorn had been made out to be a rarity in the world of Equestria. It broke the audience's preconceptions of how alicorns work in this world, in turn taking the audience out of the experience. Because of things like this, I feel as though the writers have been largely neglecting this world in favor of slice of life style episodes, which is fine if they only did slice of life. But the very first thing we see in this show is a story about how Celestia banished her sister to the moon for 1,000 years. What happened? They started with such a great world for our characters to be in, but didn't capitalize on it. So to see the more recent seasons step up and explore the world of Equestria, I've been thoroughly excited to see where they're going to go. Today I'd like to focus more on the Season 8 finale, where, when you think about it, they kind of pulled the same trick as Infinity War, splitting off into multiple groups and eventually coming together in a climactic confrontation against the main villain. But rather than this, well, we ended up with a situation where no one dies, the villain lost, and friendship reigns supreme in all the land. I found this finale especially enjoyable because it calls back to seasons past, as well as just how much is going on in the present. Twilight and company think it's Tyrek, the EEA wanted to warn Twilight but got sidelined by a power vacuum. All the while, the Student Six try and figure something out, and eventually free Naysay. Then it goes back to Cangelot, where the ponies are trying to figure something out, and for what I think is the first time ever, the Royal Guard is deployed from Cangelot.
Well, there was that one time in an alternate universe, but we won't count that.
This directly contrasts how an episode like Shadowplay or To Where and Back Again handled their story structure. The conflict centered around one group of characters which, while interesting, especially with the latter using 3 different, relatively underutilized characters in the series, but neither of those episodes really make it feel like a nation is in jeopardy.
Didn't Shadowplay? I mean, the Pillars, a couple of cities in Equestria, the Pony of Shadows, Ponehenge?
Those are historical elements in minor locations, which is nice to see included in an episode, but there wasn't really much agency. The Royal Guard is nowhere to be found. We see very little of Celestia and Luna, or any of the other wacky characters we've learned about over the years. What the episode focused on was essentially the Ancient Six. These characters were well developed in their own legends, but in present day they just stood next to the main six and used what is essentially the same powers. And whenever we went to a different location, it lacked any agency. The main six getting trapped in Tartarus and trying to find a way out before it's too late, that's agency. Same could be said about Celestia and Luna mobilizing the Royal Guard, or the Student Six seeing through Cozy Clothes' lies, or the EEA trying to warn Twilight. All of this happening at once allows the issue to mean more to the characters. There's high stakes, and you can feel those stakes every time they cut to a different group of creatures. An additional little touch is how they showed what's been happening to the creatures in the Everfree Forest. Oh, they got the Manticore? Fluttershy helped him in the very first episode. Why'd they put him in Tartarus? I mean, I understand Cerberus guarding the creatures, the Bugbear, Cockatrice, and maybe even the Chimera, but Fluttershy showed us how much of a huggable little buddy the Manticore was.
Yeah, he's the huggable little buddy.
I smell a hint of jealousy.
What? I'm not.
Sure, but with how well the My Little Pony staff handled this season finale, I'm just left to wonder what the future holds. With the reintroduction of Chrysalis and even a hint of Tyrek and Cozy Glow's return, there's a lot of potential for the next seasons of the show. I even hope they reintroduce or call back to other things as well, like the Pillars teaming up again like they did in the past? Are the Student 6 going on an adventure of their own? The sky's the limit. It's just a wonder if the writers will take advantage of it.
But isn't this going to be the last season?
At the time I started this video, Hasbro hadn't made the call, but last week they officially announced that Season 9 is going to be the final for Friendship is Magic. That being said, I don't think that's a bad thing. While it'll no doubt be hard to say goodbye to the Equestria you've grown to know and love, a new show has some advantages that Friendship is Magic didn't. Foresight. When Friendship is Magic started, the writers weren't writing for an adventure show. They were writing for a children's show. The nostalgic days of Dear Princess Celestia, this and that. It all centered around morals, kids' lessons, and while there was the occasional joke or hidden gem, that intent stretched into the later seasons. It was a bad foundation for what the fandom started wanting, and it's why later editions like the Alicorns, Equestrian History, or Epic Quests to a Land We've Never Heard of when the yaks are right there. Generation 5 has a chance to start with a better foundation, to create a new world, go on adventures, and explore the things around our favorite little ponies. It's a wonderful prospect, and I'm just left to wonder if Hasbro will take advantage of that. High hopes, low expectations, I suppose. But what do you think? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, consider ringing that bell to become a member of our Loonification squad today. And I'll see all of you in the next video.